So we're now recording, and just so you know that if you maybe keep yourself muted or not participate with anything personal that you may not want to share. So thank you for being on today. And the goal of the program is to have you realize how much money is slipping through your fingers that you finally get committed to running your business as a business. You guys can hear me okay on that?
Yes.
Good. So the idea is I hear the same thing, not even just in real estate, but all business. But I guess the first question I want to ask is, how long have you guys been in real estate? For those of you who are online on a computer, I just put a poll up to see how long you've been in business, whether you've been in business 0 to 5 years or 6 to 10. And even those 0 to 5, I should have said 0 to 1 and then year 1 through 5. Interesting. So most of you are 0 to 5 years. Very interesting. Okay. That's the most I've had that percentage since I've done this. Okay, good. We'll take that down. So better to find out now before later. So this is the opportunity for you to get to a right start if you're newer in the business. And go ahead and change that. It's the fifth in a series. Part 1, we quantified the problem. Part 2, we gathered data. Part 3, we talked about how to properly take action, phone calls, emails, and mailing and advertising. Part 4, we shared some of the best tools, and now today we're going to put the whole system together. So the question I always ask is, how much are you leaking? How much business is really falling right out of your hands? Who here besides me has talked to somebody and they weren't ready to do something now, and you discovered that they did do something 6 months, a year, 2 years later without telling you? Who's done that? Say aye. That's the most common experience in our business. You know, when NAR, National Association of Realtors, does surveys, something like 80% of the customers say they're satisfied with their agent, yet they use the same agent again less than 25% of the time. Primarily because we don't stay in touch with them, and they're leaking right out of our fingertips. So when you try to develop new business, who here on the phone call is trying to get more business? Say aye.
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 Good. Good, you're in the right spot. If you want to do less business, that's not this training, that's some other company training. But this is where we get more business, and there's only 2 places you can get new business from. People you know, or people you what? Either people you know or people that you
meet.
Well, no, people that you don't know. Right? When you start today, you can either get a deal, a listing, or a contract from somebody you already know, or a perfect stranger today. You go out and talk to people and meet people. But those are only 2 choices, right? Got some feedback here. Okay. So knowing that, which one do you think is easier to work with? And then,
people you know?
Of course. We're going to talk about that. Of course. And then there's 2 kinds of leads. We have to change our thinking. Sometimes we meet people and figure, well, they're not a lead. And I would say there's only 2 types. Everybody's in 1 of 2 types of leads. They're either ready now or they're going to be ready later. But everybody's one or the other. Either everybody in the world, either A, is getting ready to buy or sell property or refer you to somebody who can, or B, they're not yet ready to do that, but they're going to do it in a month or 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years. Would you agree with that? Mathematically, that's all there is, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, we tend to look at people who aren't doing anything now as being worthless. Imagine if you treated your friends that way. Imagine if you treated your family that way. Well, you can't do anything for me now. Imagine you have a newborn infant. He can't do anything for you. They may never do anything for you in their whole life. But, leads can't do anything for you right now, but they can in the future if they're nurtured and they trust you and they like you, correct?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about people that you know. Some are doing something now, right? Of the people you know, think about your family, friends, neighbors, people you met open houses. Some of them are in your database, and some are not. And some of them are doing something now. The ones that are doing something now, either you got your database or you prospected them. The rest are doing something later. But everybody fits in one of those 2 categories. They're either doing something now or they're doing something later. Those you know, those you don't know. And the people you don't know, some people you don't know are selling their house right now. In fact, can you imagine within a mile radius how many people are getting ready to list their house tomorrow and you don't know who they are? Imagine there's a lot of them, right? Yes?
Yes,
In
yes.
fact, if you just got 10% of the people who are going to list their house tomorrow within a 1 mile radius, would your business be pretty good? And those
Yes.
in a mile radius that aren't going to list a house tomorrow, most of them are going to list their house or buy something or refer somebody in the future. They all are. There's only two types of people there are. So we have to stop thinking about people's leads and not leads. People we know or don't know. People we know now, people we don't know yet. And people are doing something now, people doing something later. So how important is trust and rapport? So somebody on the line, who's bought something online in the last couple of days, say I.
I.
Jeannie Lazard, doesn't surprise me. So if you don't mind sharing, who did you buy from online recently?
I think it was Amazon.
Amazon. So why would you buy from Amazon versus some other website?
Customer service and delivery.
Customer service delivery. You trust they'll deliver what you're buying, right?
Yes.
Was there a
Yes.
time that you were scared to buy things online from some vendors?
Yes.
Was there a time when you didn't want to give your credit card online to some websites when the internet was newer?
Yes.
Yeah. But over time, Amazon has done what with you? They've built what?
Credibility.
Credibility, or another way to put that is trust or rapport, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't mind sharing, what's the approximate price range of what you bought online at Amazon? $10, $100, or $1,000?
I think it was under 50.
Under 50. Okay. So you have some trust with Amazon to buy something for about $50, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might buy something from Amazon for $100 or $200.
Yes.
Would you buy something for $10,000 with Amazon?
Maybe.
Deposit.
Depending on what it was. Yeah.
But you guys hear the tone? Maybe, right? Doesn't sound confident, doesn't sound committed to me. Because there's a limit to your relationship with Amazon, right?
Yes.
Okay. Imagine how much trust you have to have in rapport to get somebody to sell their house with you. Imagine how much trust rapport you have to get them to buy a house with you for the first time. So my question is trust rapport really important in business or less important than Amazon's?
No, it's very important.
It's very important. So we run around trying to get people to list with us or buy with us. We don't know. We have no trust rapport track record with. Can you see how valuable the people you already have trust rapport with, how valuable it is?
Mm-hmm.
So ignoring your database is then trying to take strangers and then get them to use you for the biggest financial transaction in their life over a matter of days or weeks. What you're saying is, if you don't go from being a stranger to trusting me with a $30,000 contract, in the week after I knock on your door, I set an appointment, come back a week later, if you don't trust me enough to commit to $30,000 of binding contract that's 20 pages long with disclosures, then you must not be a hot lead. I'm going to move on. Does that make any sense at all?
Yes.
You see how we run around spending so much time with strangers and getting frustrated? Not saying to say we shouldn't door knock. I'm not saying that at all. I'm trying to show you how important people who already know you are, why you can't have to work with them first. So I want you all to consider a new paradigm. And the new paradigm, I want you to stop calling people you did transactions with ex-customers or past customers. And I want you to stop thinking of people you met and didn't list with you as listings you didn't get. I want you to stop thinking about people you door knocked that give you a name and phone number and you lost their information as worthless. I want you to think of all of them as your customers. Some are doing something now. Most are doing something later. Some did something without us, but we'll get their next transaction. All right, some of the people we know bought a house, listed a house. But who'd like to get their next listing? Say I.
I.
Yeah. Some customers we neglected, right? When you make those phone calls for the first time in a year or 5 years, Who's done that and discovered people sold their house and didn't use you? Say aye.
I.
Yeah, painful, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Customer neglect deals with loss. You go to a listing appointment and you lose out to the other agent. That just means you lost that transaction. They're still your customer. You have a chance next time. Oftentimes they relist with the company they chose second the first time around. And some people might have chose you, but they went with a local company because they just were not yet in rapport or trust you enough. But if you keep on top of them over 6 months, they will. Those are our customers. And so then I want you to think about knowing this new paradigm. Let's think about what marketing is. Marketing then becomes keeping in touch with those who love us, but are not yet ready to do anything. They love us. They compared you to the neighborhood expert and almost chose you. They just aren't ready to choose you yet, or they're not ready to sell yet. And our job is to help move somebody who doesn't know us well enough yet to feeling comfortable enough to move to the next level. Or find people who don't know us at all yet, and show they want to work with somebody, maybe yes. They don't even know they want to sell their house yet. We door knock sometimes. And they'll say, well, we're thinking of selling our house. Right? And our job is to be there when they're ready to make that decision. And others did something without us, but we want to get their next transaction. So that's the purpose of marketing, is to put us in first position with all those groups of people. Any questions on that so far?
No.
Marketing is when these people that we know, we've met, are ready to do something, we're right there in the discussion. So the requirements of a system. So what's our system going to be to market to these people? So we have to come from service. In real estate, we have to love helping people. We have to go from looking for listings to looking for people who have a problem regarding their home, and the solution is selling it, and we can help them with it. But we have to come from being of service. I'm going to turn down the background noise here. We have to come from being of service and love helping people. We have to bring people value. Right? We have to bring them information. We have to bring them methodology to get what they want. That's our job, is to be a real estate resource. And we have to be genuine to who we are. People can tell the difference. So many marketing companies, Keller Williams is famous for this, creating the team look. There's a person who hasn't closed one deal, they have a picture with 5 of their best friends all dressed in suits in front of a high-rise, their team. But that's not genuine. And it comes across as too aloof. We have to be real to who we are. And so if we come from being a service, that we love helping people, that we bring them value, information, methodologies, solutions to problems, and we're genuine, people can tell who we are, it's natural they're going to work with some of us. Okay, I'm just going to turn some music back up again. Hold on. Okay, so that's what I have prepared. So questions on what marketing is and the role of having a database. I want today to talk about the purpose, to come from, the thinking process, where we come from on that. Any questions on what our role is in that process? No? Questions? Everybody here's clear on what your role is. Wow, it's loud in the background. Got that. Any questions on what our role is? So let's talk about a script, for example. Who here today called people that you know as a real estate agent? Who made those phone calls today? Say aye.
Aye.
Perry. So Perry,
Yes.
So were you successful in those phone calls? Were they productive, or did you have some frustration in your process?
Moderately successful and a little bit frustrated.
Okay. So tell me about how many people did you talk to today that you already knew?
I spoke to 5 people who I had existing existing relationships with.
Great, 5 people. And where's frustration come from?
Been working with one person who out of the blue went to an open house and made an offer with the listing agent, got it under contract, and completely circumvented me.
Okay, frustrating. So as a result of that, you feel what? You're frustrated because?
Betrayed, but she's also, this client, I think, is in a lousy situation, and she keeps coming back asking me for advice, and at some point I'm just starting to close the door and basically say, there's only so much I can do for you at this point in time. You kind of dug yourself into a ditch.
Okay. So using the paradigm I laid out, can I share with you maybe another perspective on this? Are you open to that perspective?
Of course.
Okay. So all she did was saw more value in going around you to the listing agent than in working with you. Now, whether it's rational or emotional, could be either one or both, but that for her was her perspective, right? I'll get the property if I go to the listing agent and bypass Perry, and I want the house, and that's what's really more important. It had nothing to do with you. That was her perspective, correct?
Yeah, that was at the advice of her distant sister, who's also an agent who did not represent her. So it is a situation of dual agency.
Okay.
We had been working together last summer fairly closely, and she just couldn't pull the trigger on anything, and ultimately, now she kind of came around and wanted to buy something. She's financially ready to buy something, and I know where I dropped the ball, and that was essentially, with a CRM, and I wasn't sending out the buy, twice monthly newsletter.
Right. Well, or if I could translate that another way, you didn't create enough value in yourself as her agent that she would consider choosing and working with somebody else. That's all. Right? It's not like a marriage where she went behind your back. It was she weighed out your expertise, knowledge, as evidenced by your contacting her. That's all she can see. And the opportunity of working with a listing agent, and she weighed the two out, and you didn't put enough on your side of the scale. Or you didn't create enough value for her in your relationship.
Yeah,
now,
no, I mean, that's bottom line is that's true.
Right? And that's all we can do is all we can do. Now, some people are never going to appreciate hard work, expertise, whatever your skills are. They're always going to look for what they think is a shortcut. They're just people like that. And our job is to figure out who they are and create some boundaries and work with them appropriately. But at a minimum, we want to pile on the value with people that are our customers so they less often make that choice. Right? That's the opportunity we have, and that's the paradigm. And so if we come from giving people like her value, not because we have to give her a once-a-month newsletter to get her to buy at a certain ratio. If we give her value monthly or every other month or twice a month or once a week or whatever it is, because we think that that's what they need to learn best how to buy property and how to understand the market best, then enough people will choose you that you won't ever feel like you're losing any business. And when somebody chooses somebody else, we have to look at that as, we did do enough. What more do I need to do to create more value in the eyes of my prospects or my customers? That's the paradigm that I'm challenging you to. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So, but obviously you can't just send out something to her twice a month. It's too much work. You have to leverage it over a larger group of people. So what decisions or commitments can you make now so that you'll create more value for your customers in the future so this happens less often and more of your customers get the value that you want to give them? What change can you make now in your business and commit to?
Well, in this case, I don't think it was a matter of credentials. I think she understood that. And, I mean, the irony to all this is that, she's buying a value-add property. I'm a general contractor. I really could have been there in her hip pocket for her. And eventually she wants to redevelop the place. I have a master's degree in real estate development. I could have been there for her in terms of, now she's going through the whole due diligence process with the city to see what she can put on the property. And at some point in time, she wants to put a sustainable, LEED-oriented building on the property. I have the LEED AP credential. I mean, check every box. I was the guy. The bottom line is, she knew that.
Okay.
So that's why I'm a little frustrated. That's all.
Right. Well, there's two sides of this. One is you may not have given enough value to appreciate your credentials. I'll give you a perspective today. I was at lunch at a restaurant, and my dentist happened to walk in. He's also a very good friend and a past client of mine. And he was saying, "Well, I really admire your posting on social media." And I said, "Well, why don't you do that?" He goes, "Well, I don't feel comfortable." I said, "No, I'm not saying you should post social media because you'll increase your dental practice traffic. I'm saying I know you care about your patients like me, about my dental health more than I do. And so there are things you can do to encourage me as a patient to floss more often, to care more about my teeth." I read an article somewhere a few months ago about how you shouldn't brush your teeth right before meals. It's not good for your teeth or something with the acids. And I said, you're the professional. If you read that, you can either write 2 or 3 sentences. Either it's true or it's false. Attach the article if appropriate. And it would help me either I'd read the article and learn from you, or you'd remind me to floss my teeth when I don't feel like doing it when I'm supposed to. The same for us as agents. We need to make sure it's one thing to say you have a credential and to say that she should have known it or it's on our website or we told her. But the opportunity is to show them the value of working with you by educating them. And maybe this is one of those customers you weren't going to win. I don't know. But all we can do is work on improving and giving them more opportunity to learn and value us. And all we can do is put more value in the marketplace to our customers, knowing the more we do that, the more that will choose to work with us. So what could you do systematically, not just for her, but going forward, what could you do with all your customers? And remind me, Perry, you're here in West LA somewhere, aren't you?
Yeah, so I live in Santa Monica, and more or less I work the Santa Monica, Palisades, Brentwood market. This property happened to be in Culver City, but not too far away.
Is it commercial or multifamily? What kind of property was it?
No, it's just a single family in an older neighborhood in Culver City, very close to the Culver City DMV.
Okay, I know exactly what it is. So I just think that here's a chance for you, some feedback. Gee, I need to make sure that all my customers, learn about the value of somebody who has experience in construction, in sustainable properties, LEED certification, all that. There's a chance for you to educate your customer base about that information so they appreciate the importance of it and the opportunities and the pitfalls or potential pitfalls. And so I would definitely look at, when looking for ideas on what to share with your customers, I would fall back to those kind of areas. I also think sending a newsletter twice a month probably is not enough for buyers. I think it has to be more like weekly.
Okay.
In part 3 of this series, I go through in detail how often to contact people, and I believe you should call everybody you know every 90 days. And I believe you should email everybody you know about real estate related information, something they find useful, every week. They're not going to read it. 90% aren't going to ever read it. But some people are going to read it regularly, or they'll see the email come through, and when they are interested, they'll click on it, or they'll think of you and go to your website or whatever. But I think that we have to increase the opportunities for our customers to learn from us if we want to position ourselves as trust professionals. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you in terms of the frequency. It's not so much the content. It is a matter of sort of being top of mind by showing up in their inbox and having them make a mental note of seeing the email, whether or not they open it or not.
Part of it's top of mind by frequency, and part of it is having the depth of top of mind with the quality of the information you're giving them. So I don't want to send them about upcoming holidays. I don't know about you, but I get about 20 emails about, it's going to be Labor Day or turn your clocks back or those kinds of things. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person they think about when they think about real estate. In your case, you go another notch forward, which is the person they think about when you think about real estate and construction issues, or real estate rehabilitation, or real estate and energy, efficiency, or whatever those niches are that you want to participate in, I would want to be the expert how to market those properties. I'd want to make sure that they think of you as the expert in that to distinguish yourself from all the other realtors in the area.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Good. Well, look, this is nice. I'm sorry you had this setback, but boy, it fit nice with this call today, because it really, I think, at least it doesn't say you would have got that deal. Like I said, we don't know, but
Right.
I think that rather than look at it as a loss or setback, I think it's just feedback to say, what do I need to do more? And I think the answer for you is what? You need to commit to doing what as a result of all that?
I think perhaps I need to narrow my messaging and get it across more effectively.
Mm-hmm. Yes, actually, with all the expertise, because a lot of the messaging realtors send out is very broad, you can really focus in on some great areas that you create value in. Fantastic. Anybody else have any questions on the subject of marketing to your past client database, people you know versus people you don't know, and how to stay in touch with them? Any other questions on that? So on the chart, you'll see my email address. If you want copies of these slides, send me an email, text. I'm going to use this time slot to make it a continuous discussion on these issues. I'll start back again at the beginning next week. Next week, we'll talk about how to quantify how much money you are losing, quantify how much data you should have, how many customers you should have, and what you should be able to measure in terms of your efficiencies. So we'll do that next week, going back to part 1 of the series. So thanks for participating today. I really appreciate your help. Any questions that come up afterwards, call me, text me, or email me. I really appreciate your support. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Bill.